everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Unofficial PlayStation Plus podcast, your monthly slice for all things PlayStation Plus. News, reviews, reactions, opinions, we've got them every last Sunday of the month when we're on time. Hopefully this uploads on time. I'm your host, Vincent Kenny, and joining me on this episode is our very special guest. He's big in the kind of funny podcast beyond. He's big in the whole Twitter, Facebook grouposphere. It's Mr. Sam. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello. It is me, Mr. Big Time in the podcast Beyond and kind of funny Facebook group.
our,
By
our,
comparison to like the most unknown people, I'm pretty big. But compared to the most known famous people in the
you're no
group,
Ryan Robertson.
I'm small fish. I'm no, I'm no Mr. Ryan Robertson.
Um, so we're gonna be talking about all the things for all the games for June 2021. But before we get to that, how are you doing today, sir? Typically, what we've been doing lately is what like non-gaming stuff have you been into? Be it a show or a comic or an album. Well, like what non-gaming stuff have you been focused on lately?
Oh man, there's not too much. I've just been trying to get some more work going, so trying to be working more.
Mm-hmm.
Make some more money outside of that. I just recently purchased a new pair of eyeglasses because the current one that I have on is falling apart. I literally just super glued the two eraser bits that I cut off of my eraser to like uh, sticking onto like these little legs that support your the nose bridge area. I don't know what it's called,
Mm-hmm.
but it's falling apart that bad that I had to glue razor bits onto it. Like it fell apart because of the mask.
Hey,
It
it's
fought
handy.
on there or something. Yeah. So I just did that and then purchased a book. It's called Anatomy for Sculptors, like anatomy drawing book. So I've been trying to get back into drawing seriously again. So that's gonna be good. And that's pretty much what I've been up to. Just
I,
trying to
I
make more money
I'm
and
very
get some
talented
hobbies.
of anyone who can draw like that because
Oh
um
man, I'm not good.
but
I'm
see again
trying to be.
I'm one of those people. I just draw like a T for a T-shirt and like that's like I
I
like I
mean,
said
it's
I
called a t-shirt for a reason.
there's many things where like, oh, I would love to be, a better cook, a better
Yeah,
chef, a
yeah.
better whatever, but like the one thing I'm very jealous of is like I really like I wish I had the time and the effort to draw. But then by the same token, like I probably would just draw the randomest stuff ever. So I feel like that's kind of good that I'm not doing that.
Oh, I mean, you say that, but I think of it like this, right?
Well, yeah.
So whatever you draw, you add to your
Hmm.
to use like gaming term or just I don't know why I went there, but it adds to your like experience. Whatever
No,
you draw, if you keep drawing it, it's
like
gonna get better. Doesn't matter what it is.
Ex- exactly. My fiance, she's big into like I've recently, we're still doing our anime rewatch. We're slowly working through the shows. And something I really appreciate about her is I'm just someone I'm like, "Oh, cool. I like a show. I'm done with it. I move on. It's disposable." She's like been constantly she's been trying to like draw characters and she's trying to like
Oh,
work on
nice.
the eyes. She's like, "Oh, like the recently she we were watching the last airbender and I came home from
Ooh,
work and she was just like
good
I
choice.
was like, yeah,
Good
I'm like, what do
choice.
you I was like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just drawing Sokka, and like it was a pretty decent Sokka, and I'm like she's just like anytime she likes a character she's like, oh, I'm just gonna draw him. I want to practice on this and get better and better, and I think that's really cool of her that
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
she
dude. That's how it starts, man.
yeah she uses fandoms for good. I just go online and yell at people.
I
um
mean,
but
light and dark.
but yes,
The world needs balance.
yes. I'm actually very upset because excuse me, I just tweeted it out this morning. But like I said, we got through the last Airbender. She loved it a lot. We watched
And like
season,
the entire thing,
yeah, the entire
all
show.
three seasons.
Yeah,
Mm, nice.
and we got through season 1 and 2 of Korra, and then
Right.
she was like, and then yeah, she's like, oh, I'm kind of enjoying this show. It's like, and for some weird reason, apparently Netflix Canada doesn't have season 3 and 4. I
Okay, that's weird. Why not have the whole thing? It's
Yeah,
it's
it
available.
was funny. She just looked at me and she was
And
like,
it.
yeah, she was like, what? So what are our options here? I just put on the pirate hat. I'm like, we gotta do what we gotta do. We're finishing the story.
I don't know. I used to like use like a little like coding whenever I talk about, putting on a parody. I would say sail the Caribbean Sea. But nobody ever got that.
See,
I was like, oh, how would you get this thing? Like, I don't have the money. I will sail the Caribbean Sea for it. What the hell
well,
are you talking about? I don't know,
that's
man.
that's always the worst part. Is I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna start. I use the same website for everything. I'm always like, ooh, I have my source. It's one source, and I'm just if they get shut down, I have no idea where else I would look.
Mm.
I was talking to her about it. It's such weird because like as at least as children, I was all like, I'm not. This is not. We're not condoning this. This is not an approved thing. But as a child, I knew so many pirating sites, and I would just steal movies and shows and games and emulators, and like now I'm such an old person. I literally just have to go like Legend of Korra free online, no ads. Like I don't know how to actually find that content.
Oh
Like
yeah, dude, I don't anymore. I used to be the same. Like, I used to pirate games a lot. I think back during like the early, not the early, like 2016 plus, something like that, or around that time. Like used to pirate a lot of games. That's how I got into gaming. I pirated the Call of Duty games at the time, played the campaigns. It didn't have multiplayer, so or it did, it just didn't work.
mhm,
It had the single player, and I was like, yeah, man, this is cool. And then I got the
yeah.
the Knights of the Old Republic Cold War. I pirated that one,
Mhm. Oh
and that pretty much sealed the deal. Like,
yeah.
this is what I love about gaming. This is why I game to play shit like this.
Mhm.
And
Um.
yeah,
Yeah. And speaking of intense gaming, let's just hop right over to the gaming discussions for this month. So for PS5, you got Operation Tango. I did not get the developer. I am so sorry. It was released on June. Okay,
I
so
wasn't never that one. I know the name. I don't know.
um, but yes, so it was originally released on August 28th, 2020, but that was the PS4 version. The PS5 version released on
Oh yeah,
June.
it was on PS4 because
Yes.
it's actually not that new,
Yeah,
right?
and
The
yeah, and
seems familiar.
I was watching a trailer. I think you can crossplay, but yeah, it came out on PS5 on June 1st. So you got it at launch if you had Plus. It has a Metacritic of 72%. No sales numbers, but yes. I briefly looked into this. Apparently, it's just like a co-op spy game where one player plays as a hacker and one player plays as a spy, which is really cool, really interesting. And the one thing I do like is, according to the trailer, it has like crossplay, so like you can play from PS4 to PS5. You don't need the same
Right.
system, which I think is good. And especially
Oh,
if
that has to be a thing if it's on like
yes,
both console. That should be a standard.
yes,
Just
exactly.
like cross play in general, where it makes sense, of course.
But yeah, because I was gonna say, do you have a PS5, sir?
I wish I had a PS5.
But yes,
I plan on getting one late this year, at some point next year. Not much later than that,
yeah. But yeah,
but
so
we'll see.
yeah, it looks cool. It's a co-op spy game. I would love to try it out. But I really don't
Is
have.
this the VR title, or am I
No,
remembering
I.
that
That's why I
wrong?
got confused. I thought it was like you use your phone. No, it's just standard PS4. The like standard controller. The only thing that also sucks is they said that, um, it's online only, so like you can't do local split screen,
Oh,
which is annoying. But again, it's free with Plus now, so I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, at least everyone who has a PS5 like has they know someone who you can really play it with whoever.
the
Um,
cool thing about the PS Plus stuff, right? Like, oh, let's check this game out.
yes,
Play
exactly.
it
That
for a bit. It
every
doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to have everything. It's a quick thing,
exactly.
like a
Yeah.
snack,
Um,
like
so
a Doritos bag.
so moving on to that. So typically when I invite a guest on, we both agree to play the same game. Uh, and
That fell apart on this one.
yes. We're actually in a rare occasion where I've played a game and you've played the other one. Um,
Yep.
do you want to hear about Star Wars, or would you like to talk about Virtua Fighter 5?
Let's save that for let's say Virtual Fighter 5 for later because that's kind of like my trump card bringing coming into this. Because if we start off with that, I have nothing left, man.
Yes. Okay, so then you also got a Star Wars Squadron for PS4. It was created by EA Motive. It was released on October 1st, 2020, which I totally forgot. So like that game's like less than a year old.
Yeah, okay. Now that's a weird realization.
It has
It's not that old at all.
yeah. It has a Metacritic score of 79%, and it sold 1.1 million copies as of November 2020.
How much was it sold for?
Yeah. I kind of went in just blind. I was like, okay, cool. It's a Star Wars space game. And the thing I like is that it's very simmy, like in a good way. Like it's still action and shooting, but like you
It's
have to balance your throttle and
it's
your
like part.
shields and yeah, um your boost and your laser cannon, and like you can divert power from the shields to the lasers to make your lasers
Oh, yeah, they do
stronger.
that in movies. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like you could change where on your ship um the shielding is. So like if you're going towards a star destroyer, like you can actually put it so all
Whatever
your
was
shields are in the front
in
and
the
it makes
front.
yeah, it
Yeah,
makes or like if you're
that's
like being
cool.
run or like someone's on your tail, you can swap it. So that's the thing I really liked was like they really I think I know this sounds dumb. All you do in this game is fly around and shoot stuff, but they
I
really
mean, I thought that was the point, wasn't it?
no, but exactly. They really like they're like no, we're not doing like this is not like Rogue Squadron where you're going to get out of your ship and do a mission or you're like doing like no. All you doing are you're in a ship and you are a pilot. And they really nailed that feeling like I said it took me a while because you use the left joystick to control your speed. So my natural inclination was okay, just hold down the left stick um
Yeah,
to use the gas. But no, the gas is automatic, so you just control like, you use the left stick to raise and lower how fast you want to go. But then once that's on, it's like on cruise control, it'll just go forward. You don't have to keep holding it. And I actually like it
yeah,
took me a little bit to figure that out because I would always like be messing with my gas because I was like
yeah.
starting, stopping. And
Yeah,
it
I
took me a
think
while.
it's they were trying to simulate like a cockpit control where you have like
Yes.
that bunch of like
Hmm.
throttles you pull
Yes.
up and
And
down or something, but I don't know how that translates to a controller.
what that's what
I would be
I was
confused, I
also
think.
about to say. I have not tested it yet. I might test it in a little bit, but they also the game is fully playable in VR, and just like doing it on the TV with a controller, I'm like, oh, this would be a really cool game with VR.
Do you have VR headset that you try that on?
Yes, I just got one
Ooh.
recently. Yeah, I got one.
Oh, nice. Which one
Um,
do you have?
yes, I have the what was it? Because I was looking for a camera, and then I think the cameras were like 50, $60 brand new, and then
Cool.
this guy was selling his whole VR headset with the controller and the wand and the camera for like 150. I'm like, "Yeah, for 100 extra bucks I get all this stuff, like I might as well."
Yeah, that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. So I haven't tried it yet, but I'm very excited too. I think that would actually be a really cool VR experience. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's one of the main selling points that it has the VR integration.
Mhm,
Is people always wanted to like
mhm,
feel like they're in that
mhm,
setting. Like every Star Wars fan,
mhm.
well, most Star Wars fan, almost the
Yeah.
people who want to fire out. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, I
I
would
uh,
say that was
I
the
just
other
like
part
that
with
operating vehicle.
Yeah, they're
Well, not in real life. I do drive. I'm not the best driver because I'm Asian. I have a disadvantage, but I'm decent. I'm good enough. But like in video games, I absolutely suck at driving. So I guess
yeah, they. I will say I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so there was a lot of moments where like, oh, you're driving an X-wing and a Y-wing and a B bomber and I don't know, like
man.
they all
As
just
soon as
feel
you said X-wing, oh, that's one of my favorites.
yeah, they're slightly. It's like I wasn't like, oh wow, this vehicle feels super different. I'm like, okay, is this one is
I
slightly
don't know about
faster?
that.
Yeah, but again, I think this like if someone who's big into flight simulator, like you said, this is for the
Yeah.
people who just want a cockpit Star Wars game.
Simulator.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like that. That's all it is. It's not trying to be anything else, and for what it is, I think it kind of nails that.
Yeah, a lot of people like it.
I thought it was very good and a great grab for PlayStation Plus. And the final game you got for June was Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown.
Here we come,
It
baby.
was created by Sega and also released on June 1st, 2021. It has a Metacritic score of 78% and it has no sale number. So, yeah, like I said, you are you're my resident multiplayer expert. You're great with Mortal Kombat and Street
Well, in
Fighter and
in my
Overwatch
friend
and
group,
yeah, you are the multiplayer guy. You know, like we played Mortal Kombat a while ago, and like
yeah, yeah, I trained you a little bit.
you
You're my
did like
student.
I actually learned the button like the one two one
Yeah,
one two three four, but then like you started
yeah.
to go super next level. Where you're like, all right, cool. Here's how to do a combo. Here's how to do button count. All right, here's frame data or frame counting. I'm like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
those are important, but it's not for everybody.
Yes. So, before we get into all this, something I did not know when I gave you this. This is a port of a port of
Yeah.
a port.
Yeah, yeah, dude. The original game was
Yes, I have it here.
okay. I have
So,
the Wikipedia here, but you go ahead. You're the
yeah. So so this is a port
you
of
override my authority on things.
yes. This is a port of Virtual Fighter 5 Final Showdown, which was released on PS3 and arcades, and Final Showdown was actually a port of Virtual Fighter Vanilla, which was released in 2006.
Yeah, this game is
So
something else.
so this game is technically 14 years old.
Yeah.
um and from what I saw, I watched a few videos. It's kind of like kind of get a basis. Apparently, from what I see, it is just kind of like Star Wars. It is
Oh,
just
man.
a fighting game. Like there's
Oh,
no
you mean
story
like
mode. There's no
okay? In
survival.
that sense,
There's no tag match. There's no fancy mode, or there's no King of the Tower. This is
yep,
just one-on-one matches. And that's it.
yep.
But I also read that it's very like in depth and it's a very technical fighting game.
Yeah, apparently it's one of the most well-regarded fighting games out there.
Mhm.
Even maybe more so than like Mortal Kombat in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what I heard. Is a lot of people comparing it to stuff like Tekken or Dead or Alive, which are less on fancy moves and more about the combos and the frame
Yeah,
dating and all that other stuff. So,
yeah.
uh,
Dead or Alive, like in their more uh modern fighting games is how I would put it. More about like uh the way you play, not the how. From what from what I gathered, Virtual Fighter is like a lot on the how. This is how you do things. This is how this works, right? And it works in a very particular way in within a bunch of like particular system. And then in order to play it, you have to understand a lot more things than you would say like in Mortal Kombat.
so according to one of the reviews I saw, there's no jump button.
There's no dedicated jump button, yes.
Yeah, like
You have to
he was saying
input.
jumping is a combo, but like
It essentially is
yeah, like
in a way.
yeah, the only way to jump out of a character's attack is to enter a specific combo that involves jumping, and then you can use that to dodge. And I'm like,
Yes. So
okay,
the so Virtual Fighter works in this one video that they put it is a three buttons game. It's a three button games,
Hmm.
but that's kind of not too accurate because if you look at a controller, it's like a bunch of buttons. Like how is that a three button game? Right?
Hmm.
But it was released on the arcade machine, and
Yes.
when you pick, you imagine that like the arcade controller, you have the stick and then the buttons to the right.
Exactly.
And for Virtua Fighter arcade machines, I think it would have the stick and three buttons, and that's it. So it is a three button games in that sense. And then everything you do is pretty much the combination of those buttons, like the jump. Like you said, jump is, if I remember right, is you input the stick diagonal,
Hmm.
diagonally up in front or like up back or up front, and then you press two of the buttons at the same time. So you do all this at the same time, by the way. I'm just like listing them out.
Hmm.
So diagonal up, forward or up, back, and then guard and punch,
Hmm.
and then that's how you jump. So three inputs at the same time, and then you jump. It's just like very obtuse.
Hmm.
It feels so weird, but apparently, if you understand all that
Hmm.
and are able to like keep all that in your head, like it's very rewarding because you're like doing so much just to do one thing, and that's like the draw of it, I guess.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is am a, I'm very much a casual
Yeah.
fighting game fan. So like the whole reason I love Mortal Kombat, as my main favorite fighting game series, is the fact that you have the story mode and the towers, and they have other stuff for
Outside of the actual beating
exactly. Yeah.
gameplay.
Because apparently the only thing that it doesn't even really count is apparently the more matches you play, you can customize your character. But like
Yeah. Yeah.
apparently
Wait. In yeah.
you
Wait. In what, in Virtual Fighter?
yes, the only
Oh.
like not like Mortal Kombat. It's like, oh, you get new moves. It's just like, oh, you can change their outfit slightly. But apparently the PlayStation Plus version um does, if you buy the game individually, you get a bunch of free clothes for free. But if you just get the PlayStation 5 or the PS Plus version, it's just the base game. So yeah, it's literally just arcade mode and online. Those are your two options. So
Yeah.
like,
It really is.
but I was gonna say, so for me personally, as someone who doesn't, you know, who doesn't
But
necessarily,
really
yeah, worry about
dabble in fighting games.
yeah, about getting good or
Virtual
whatever.
Fighting.
I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I threw a fireball. I'm happy. Do you like?
I
Do you
don't think
think?
there are fireballs in this game,
Do you like? Do you think this is a
unfortunately.
game you would like necessarily
Is this a
stick
game
with?
for you?
Oh yeah, no, no. It's this a game you would stick with because like you're a lot
Oh,
more
me
about.
personally?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, I think I talked about this briefly when I tried this a while back. Like this is a very technical game.
Exactly.
Fighting games for me, I love the getting good, the understanding
Hmm.
of it all, and
It sounds like a
this is
perfect game for that.
just it does right. But the thing about that is that there's too much.
this
There's too much. There's
this is one of
there's just a
those
lot of systems. Yeah,
this is one of those
it's just too
simulation
technical.
games where they let you build the car and whatever, but like if you don't put the specific piston in the right spot, your car just won't drive. Like
Yeah,
I'm just like I'm a dumb boy. Let me play Mario Kart. I'm sure there is a market for this. I'm sure people are like, oh, I want to fine
I
tune it.
mean,
I want to make my car
you
run
bring that up.
perfectly.
Why do you bring that? Because Mortal Kombat actually had a Mario Kart knockoff mode
Yes, it did. Yes, on the PS. Yeah, yes.
on the PS2. I think it
I
was
know. I
Armageddon.
missed the side fun silly stuff.
Dude, I love that mode. To be honest,
Yeah.
my cousin loved the what's his name, Borai,
Hmm.
because everyone has their little power ups, right? The power they use. So Borai is this Grandmaster dude, the Drunken Master, and his iconic thing is that he pukes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, that guy. Yes.
Yeah, and when you use the power, he just pukes and make like a little sludge on the ground, and anyone who goes by it just flies off. Oh, stupid. It's awesome. Okay, back to Virtual Fighter.
Yeah, because I really don't have much more to say. Because it's one of those things. Honestly, I would have loved to. I guess the only thing for me is, because people like to put their conspiracy in their tinfoil hat and this and that.
Mm,
People always assume that these plus or these games with gold games they mean something. They're like, oh, Fallen Order is coming out this month, so we're getting Respawn 2, or sorry, Titanfall 2, like as a plus game. So the only thing I would say before we move on is, there's people have been speculating that maybe this
there's a
game
new
is
Virtual Fighter
testing.
coming out.
Yes, that this game is
Uh,
testing the water to see how well Virtua Fighter 6 is gonna go. Um, so if that is true, like, what would you personally want from? Because by the sounds of it,
what would I want from it?
yeah, from Virtua Fighter 6.
Huh.
Because from the sounds of it, like, this is not going to be a series that really does story mode or does these. It sounds like it's a very technical, by the books
Yeah,
fighting game.
yeah. It's pretty much like no bullshit fighting game
Yeah.
to put it. There's nothing in that outside of just the essentials, right? The
Mm-hmm.
command menu, the training mode,
Mm-hmm.
and just online.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know, man. It's because it works in its own right, right? Like people love this game. There's like a very its fan base is pretty much like a cult fan base,
Mm-hmm.
and when you have that,
Um.
like people will
Mm-hmm.
pretty much love what they already have,
Mm-hmm.
and if they just add more outside of that, I think it would be good. But they don't have to. But if they want to like spread further, there need to be more along the line of more Mortal Kombat or
All right.
this
Mm-hmm.
recent game, Guilty Gear. That's like everybody's talking about, which I
Yes.
will play.
Yeah. The only thing I
Yeah,
find
they have to do more.
I find interesting is apparently, well, first off, looking at the game, like, I don't know how to describe it. It takes like in box arenas. It's just it's so weird to see because you look at even stuff like Tekken or Dead or Alive that has the screen transitions and all this other stuff, and like this in the best and worst way, this just looks like a PS3 game where it's like, okay, like the
Well, it
arena,
was on the system,
yeah, it's
to
like
be fair.
it's just a square arena. All the levels are the same. There's not really any different environmental stuff or this or that.
There are like small
Yes.
nuances.
Oh yeah,
Like
yes.
in Tekken, you have like the stage transition. Like this doesn't have that. It does have a ring out mechanic.
Yes.
So some characters have throws where like the closer you are to the edge, you can throw people out, or you can just push them out.
Mhm.
And that's how, even though it's pretty much like the same thing, like every ring out is more or less the same, unless there are like tall walls, short walls. So those are easier and harder to do, but mostly it's the same.
Mhm.
But the cool thing about the walls in this and like 3D fighters like Tekken or Dead or Alive, I'm not familiar with Dead or Alive, but I did dabble in Tekken. I had like a decent amount of fun with that. I like Tekken.
Mhm.
The wall acts at like a combo skin. So if you punch someone against the wall, even though they're guarding, I think, especially when they're not guarding, they do this thing people call the wall splat. So it's the anime thing where you get punched into a wall and you just hit it really hard, and then it takes a bit for you to fall down.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's how you keep your combo going.
Mhm.
That wall splat. And it feels really good when you get it.
Mhm. But
And that's something Mortal Kombat doesn't have,
mhm.
which it's, whatever. It's the things that 3D fighting games have.
Mhm. Exactly. But unfortunately, we're just gonna have to wait for Virtua Fighter 6. But while we wait, we're gonna go and do an ad break. But as always, this is an
So,
independently funded show. And if you would like to have your company or products sponsored on the show, or just your letter read in general, and just to hear your thoughts and opinions, you can write to the show, PlayStation Plus so at gmail.com. So for now, we're gonna give this freebie to Crush Pineapple. I'm pretty sure this segment is just turning
Likely
into.
man.
I'm pretty sure this segment is just turning into what I'm drinking at this current moment. But damn, pineapple.
And
I'm
then look,
sorry.
free drinks. They're free drinks. Just
I'm
period.
yeah.
I have nothing else to say. Free drinks.
uh, I'm gonna say this now. Pineapple. It's an S tier food.
So wait, are we talking about drinks or pineapple?
It's like a pineapple soda basically.
Pineapple. Pineapple soda. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, very funny story. Me and my
Uh,
fiance,
okay, you're going into it. You paused and I was like, am I
yeah, I'm
getting
like,
this story because I want to hear it?
no, me and my fiance are watching this show, bottom tier, whatever, Nozaki or whatever. It's basically about this gamer dude who this popular girl is getting him to
Wait,
um
this is
it's
an
an
anime?
anime. Yes, yeah, yeah. And it's
Okay.
like he he's uh yeah, she's like taking him. He's like he's kind of slubby, shy, whatever. She's like giving him confidence. She's giving him a makeover. She's
Of
trying to like
course.
boost him up. Um, and it was so funny because like one of my biggest complaints with the show was like every now because it's about gamers and it's about gamer culture. Like the main
They're
character
gonna
is
stereotype the shit out of
yeah
that dude.
yeah
Yeah.
the main dude is like a big Smash player. And I'm like
Like,
every now and again I'm like this is
it smashes a good game.
yeah, I'm just like, okay, this is kind of annoying. Like, nobody talks about this. And then meanwhile, I was just like, yep, pineapple S tier food. I'm like, oh, geez, no, I am. I'm the stereotype. I did it.
Yep, yep, yep.
A jolly or green apple Jolly Ranchers S tier or no F tier, bottom, very bottom.
Jolly Ranchers.
Specifically green apple. I don't know what it is. I'm fine with any other Jolly Rancher, but the green
But
apple one.
do you like the actual like fruit
Yeah,
green
green
apple?
apples are fine.
Mm.
I'll have a green apple.
Yeah, those aren't my thing. Too sour. Although I'm just not too big of a fan of apples. You know, like yeah, I like them fine, but like a meh apple, just green apple I would take, but meh apple, no, just get out of here.
You get your
Let alone
Granny
green
Smiths out
apples.
of here.
Yeah, I
But
don't
yeah,
know,
so
man.
we're gonna move over to the news, which we're slightly late to record this,
Wait,
because I just kind of I was very busy this month, a lot of adulting, a lot of working around, um, and I needed to do the news roundup before we started, so I was like, hey, give me like a few minutes, I will do the news roundup, then we'll do this. I spent
the speed
40
run.
I spent 40 minutes. I have two stories. So
I mean, look,
we're we're gonna do some
it's
rumors.
COVID. It's late.
Yes, it's
Well,
it's
it's not
it's
that late. Relatively late.
oh yeah. Well, also I think it's that with E3 going around, I feel like that was kind of the focus for the start of the month. That there really is not
Yeah, it's like all the news kind of came and went with that.
exactly that. Like now we're just in like there's not really much. There is a rumor again. This whole I don't like talking about rumors, but that's all we have this episode. There is a rumor that PlayStation's gonna do
Hey
like
man,
a state of
tinfoil hat.
play.
This is the time.
Yeah.
This is time for it.
Yes. Sadly yes. I gotta use my mortal enemy. But yeah, there's a rumor they're gonna do a state of
You have
play.
become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Yeah. So there might
Where
do
did you
some.
swear to destroy? Rumors or conspiracy theories? Because if you did, then
Mhm.
that works. If you didn't, then I just look like a fool.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a rumor they're doing stuff in July. Which I think sense because Horizon is this year. We still haven't seen God of War.
Wait, Horizon is this year.
Yeah, it's still slated for 2021. Um,
Well,
God of War is next year, but we still haven't seen a trailer
yeah,
or
that one, I don't know. But like these days, I think they're kind of a lot of studios or publishers are kind of doing the Fallout 4 thing. Like they don't want to announce things too far. Like we will show and give them stuff when we have like a
Yeah,
lot
that
of stuff to show.
that is also true. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have more stuff next month. But for now, let's just hop over to our first news story, which is that Oddworld Sourcestorm is coming to Xbox and PC, and this comes to us from IGN by
No,
Adam Bankhurst. PlayStation 5, PS4, and PC exclusive Oddworld Sourcestorm has been rated for the Xbox Series X and Xbox One, as reported by Gamatsu. The game received a teen rating for blood, gore, language, use of tobacco, and violence, and the platforms listed now include Xbox. Um,
you know when you read out all the things in the ESO being blood, gore, use of alcohol, and
Tobacco.
tobacco, that does not sound like a tea, man. When you read it out loud like that,
But that, yeah,
sounds kind of bad.
yeah. It's not shocking. Honestly, again, I'm scraping. I normally want to. Cool. I was gonna say, have you any interest
Have
in
I
the Oddworld
played
games, or yeah,
the Oddworld games? I always appreciated them. Like
that's
I like these like I was about to say oddball games, and I don't know like any other words is like the oddball or like more niche title, just filling up all these like spaces we have in between the big games, and I hope it does well. But it just doesn't really grab me. It's a platformer, right? Like platformer puzzle kind of title.
mm,
I don't really. I never really played those too much, but I always wanted to play Strider, if you know that one.
mm,
But I never got around to it.
mm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it
especially
looks
games
cool.
like
But
anything that uses physics, I'm not a fan of. Um, but I think the worst one for me was Limbo, where like I would get
oh,
stuck in
Limbo.
that game and I'd be like, what am I doing wrong? And I'd look at videos. It's like, no, you're doing it right. It's just you have bad physics, and like you gotta get the cart to
You're doing
swing.
it right. You just suck.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? It's like, no, you're right. It's just gravity hates you. So like,
Gravity hates
sometimes
you.
you can get it on the first time. Sometimes you have to get the cart to swing 4 or 5 times just to get the momentum right. And I'm like, so I like you said, I
Yeah.
respect those games, but they're nothing that I'm like clamoring for.
Yeah. I wish there was. Ooh, but I do really want to play. I don't think this falls into like the same category, like one for one, but it is platforming.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Castlevania games, the newer one. They're like, but they renamed it something else. I forgot the names. Uh, Bloodstain, Bloodstain, right?
Yes.
Rituals of the Night. Yeah, yeah. Those games look dope. Like it's not too much of a platformer. I guess more like the Metroidvania or whatever they call it. But yeah, those are cool. I want to play those.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's cool. Hey, more games are everywhere.
More
That's awesome.
games are cool.
Moving on to our next story, it is Destruction All Stars was forced to add bots to make up for low player counts, and this comes to us from CGM CGMAG online, or CGM, CG
EGM
Mag,
Magazine,
CG Mag.
EG Mag.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know why they did Mag. That threw me off. Anyway, yes, and this comes to us from David Carcassole?
Let me take a look.
CARCASOLE. No, it's just like I
Hold
looked
on.
at it like for a second. I thought his name was David Casserole. I'm like, that's amazing.
Alright.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mr. Casserole. Like I would introduce myself as that. Yeah, like, I don't care about my first name. I'm Mr. Casserole.
Oh, dude, they have to hire anyone who's named David Casserole in like any
He can work for
casserole
Garfield.
restaurant.
He can be the
Yeah,
president of Garfield.
pretty much, man.
Yeah, so Destruction All Star. The news comes in the way of a post from the developer on the game's official Reddit page. The update does include information on what's new updates are being added to the game, but also includes a small section dedicated to announcing online bots, which read, With the community size of Destruction All-Stars spread out across the world, we do not have peak times and low times of player activities for online matchmaking. We want to ensure that matches are filled to capacity with as many real players as possible. But when missing X amount of players when queuing for a match, all bots will, or AI bots will take the remaining places. The exception to this is the Blitz. Competitive mode, Blitz will never feature bots. Liquid Games does point out that when those peak times are cited around 4 p.m. UTC to 10 p.m. UTC during the week and 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. on weekends, they will not include bots during those times. As a PS5 exclusive, there's support from the PS4 install base to help boost player count. What's even more interesting considering...
Oh, no crossplay.
No. Their Destruction All-Stars was originally slated to be a full-price PS5 game before the decision was made to release it on PlayStation Plus. So the story itself it sucks. I feel this game I had so much hope for, just because when they did the delay, they were like, I was like, cool. They're like, hey, we're delaying it out of the launch window. We want to get away from Spider-Man and Demon Souls. We're making it free with us. I'm like, okay, cool. This game is in a really good place. Like it is set up to be perfect. And then it just came out and it was a whimper. It was like, meh. And that's really upsets me.
It didn't do like amazing with people, right? It's just like good, decent.
Oh, and that's my worry for circling back for Virtua Fighter. Apparently, they said that's why they did it. Is we're making it free. We want the
to see how.
Yes, we want the player base to grow. We want the most people to play this game. And now I'm just looking at Virtua Fighter. I'm like, oh, you're a technical fighting game. No, how fast are you gonna fall off? Like, it's probably popular now.
The entry is. This is the thing with let's go back to Virtua Fighter for a little bit. It's the thing with like the fighting games that like the entry is very hard, especially like these like Japanese technical fighting games. It's hard, man, because it doesn't have anything else outside the learning. Like you can mess around with friends, but like if you fight someone who's better than you, then you would want to learn. But most people don't want or don't have the time to like learn all this stuff. So it comes back to like it's just too hard.
I think that's also the worst part is because I've gotten into Fortnite the last year or so and something people
I caught one of your streams.
Something people are kind of upset about is the whole bot situation over there where there's a lot of new players. I saw someone on I don't remember where it was. It was some Facebook group the other day, but he was like, "Oh man, is Fortnite always this easy? Like I played my first 4 matches and I won like 3 out of 4."
Easy boys, it killed the entire lobby.
But yeah, the thing is that
bro, it's bots.
Fortnite's actually the opposite, where I guess they want because if you don't get a victory royale, if you just play like 30 matches and you just get wiped in all of them, that's not fun. So Fortnite will actually add bots like they'll look at
insta died.
Yes,
exactly. Just tricky towers. Exactly. Or wherever the kids are dropping these days.
Yeah, they add bots just so like every now and again they'll basically give you an easy win. It's like, hey, here you go, you won, you got a victory royale, cool, be proud of yourself. And some people are upset about that. They're like, oh well, then I didn't really earn that. Again, I'm a lazy person. I'm like, okay, that's fine, because like it's based off of how much you play and what your skill level is. So the more you play,
so they basically have like bot lobbies that they would throw people into if their skill ratings are not that high. Is that how it works?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Me personally, I don't mind because like I said, it lets you play the game. It gives you a free win because you're like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna keep sticking with it. If you just get your teeth kicked in over and over and over, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm not having fun. I don't want to play this game.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed.
Well, what's the point of it then, right?
I'm not opposed to adding bots to games. It's like I said, I feel so bad for this game. Like I don't even know what they really could do at this point. Like they were already free. They had their I feel like this game is just. I wouldn't say it's gonna be shut down, by the end of the year, but like I can see it being more or less like dead by December,
Yeah,
which is a shame. But hopefully,
it sucks.
yeah, hopefully they can find cool collaborations. They can do stuff like that to bring people back. Um,
Just as a quick thing, I think like these smaller multiplayer games, I think that's kind of like how
mhm. Yeah,
or what they're gonna have to deal with
well,
because
yes,
there's
because
like just too many things. Just too many things. If you're small and you don't like outshine a lot of things, you're not gonna like, survive all that long. It sucks.
yes, because we were actually discussing that off stream the other day. Because you were saying how you believe that Overwatch should be free going forward.
It will have to. Yeah, Overwatch has pretty much like the same problem as kind of like Virtual Fighter, and just combined a little bit is like a little bit of everything. It's too hard for a
Exactly.
lot of people unless all you want to do is play who you want or play however you want and just pretty much just mess around. If you don't have that mindset, if you at some point in your Overwatch career you go, I wanna be good, then you just get friggin' spotted and kicked off the friggin' cliff and go into like the wilds to survive like alone with like pretty much nothing. Like this is your world now. This is your hell. You have to climb out there, and that's your Overwatch. Get good experience, pretty much. But if you dare to mess around, be like a hamster rolling in like a big giant robotic hamster ball with machine guns and just go wee every single time. You don't worry about anything else. You're fine. You're fine. But as soon as you go, I want to be good. Just go watch the opening of 300 and imagine you being that that baby being thrown into the friggin' forest alone to fight wolves or whatever. That's your life, or that's kind of like my life a little bit.
so
But yeah,
so
move on. Really depressing topic.
yeah, I was about to say. So unfortunately, that's it for hard, solid news. But I was like, there's no way we're doing a two-story thing. So we're gonna include two rumors. Um, I guess the first mini rumor, and we briefly talked about this last episode. I said so. Apologies if I repeated. But there's a rumor right now. We'll be very brief. That Ghost of Tsushima is coming to not only PC. Oh goodness, I should have got the name. But it's also getting a standalone expansion. I think it's Ghost of
I
something.
say it's coming to Xbox, like because that's huge. If that's the thing.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing I was telling people. Because at first, I was
Oh,
like,
the rumor is coming to
there's
Xbox.
no, it's just PC.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But
A lot
what
of
I was saying is that I thought because the initial rumors was it was gonna be a sequel. Now it seems to be like it's just a standalone.
standalone.
I'm like, okay, I could see that. It's been a year and a half. That's still pretty fast with COVID and everything that's gone on. But it's plausible. Oh goodness.
I mean, how far apart was
That
Uncharted 4 and the spin-off
oh jeez.
Lost Legacy? Because
Uh,
I think that's kind of like the same deal here. Uh,
exactly yes. Because what was it?
and
Uncharted
both are on PC
4 was
now, I think.
2016, and Lost Legacy
I think
was
that might have been a few years actually, so never mind. I think that's
no, it was
actually like a
17. It was
decent
it
time.
was a year later.
Oh, yeah,
So
that,
that
that was
you know
right.
what? That's 100% true. Let me just get the title. I want to be correct. Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, but while I find it, so yeah, the PC rumor is that typically on PlayStation they'll have that only on PlayStation tag, and then new box arts have removed it, which leads
Oh, and I didn't know that.
yeah, there it is. Like
They do that. Oh.
yeah, it's like only on PlayStation, and now that tagline is gone, so people are like, oh, so it's not only on PlayStation. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know.
I mean,
Um,
these companies, they get sneaky,
okay, yes,
man.
sir. So yes, the pro sequel is Ghost of. Oh, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. Ghost of Ikishima. I K
Like,
I
give it to me.
S
I
H
have
I
the
M A.
Asian authority.
Ikema. Anyway, yes, a standalone expansion.
I don't know.
So
I'm
I
gonna look
guess
this up
first I'll just so first off, did
just
you
to read the name.
um
Ghost
yeah,
of.
did you play Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, I have not, but I want to. Those are that one's on my more immediate list. I'm horrible when it comes to like uh playing, consuming, and watching content. I'm
I
really bad,
no, I
but it's on the list. It's on the list
like
for
I
sure.
said, I'm totally the same. Anytime I start to catch up in one thing, I start to slip behind. We're like,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
all caught up on my shows, and like, oh, I haven't gamed in 2 weeks. All right, let me
yeah,
game. I'm like, oh, I haven't like
yeah,
watched a movie, so I'm always trying to catch up with something.
yeah.
Um,
That's why when I go into something, I'm like the binge person.
mhm,
Right? When I do it, I have to finish it because otherwise, I'm never gonna finish it.
mhm.
So when I do it, I make sure to finish it. If I play a new game, that's pretty much the game that I'm playing at the time.
Yeah.
Mine that's side of I don't know, Overwatch because I have an addiction.
Yeah,
I,
I've
I
always
can't I can't live without. But no, wait, no, I take breaks from it because it's just too much sometimes. Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes like those are the worst feelings. Is like there's been lots of times where I'm tired from work and it's just like mentally where I'm like I've had a
yeah.
long day. I am stressed. I am gaming tonight, and you like put it in. You just get to the main menu. You just start flicking around. It's like I can't
I'm
play
just
you.
not feeling it.
So it's
Is
like
that
I want to
that Toy
play you,
Story
but
meme?
yeah, yeah. That's why
I
I
don't want
don't.
to play with you anymore.
Mhm.
Oh
Um,
wait, no, it's not that bad. I think.
no, but yes.
That's sad.
Uh, so yeah, I've always told people Ghost of Tsushima is the most 10 out of 10 8 game I've ever played. Like it is really good. I really enjoy it. Um,
You played it.
yes, but that's like I said. I beat chapter 1 and then I'm like 90% through chapter 2, but I never 100 I never beat the story. I never beat it because
Mm.
it was
But you
good. I
played it more or less.
yes,
Like I don't mean like actually beat it, but
yes,
you 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 played it. I don't know how else to put it.
yes.
You dabbled in it.
Yes, exactly. Like
Yeah,
I was like, I enjoy this game, but then other stuff happen, and I was like, okay, well, I'll get
yeah.
back to it. I'll get back to it, and I just look at it on my dashboard, and I'm like, there's other games that like I want to try or play. Like you're good, you're not a bad game, but like I just don't have the time for you. And I do find it funny that I'll probably play this rumored, standalone expansion. I'll probably play that before I beat the main game
Actually beating the menu. Yeah.
because I'm assuming the standalone will be smaller and like.
Oh, of course.
Mhm.
I
But
mean,
yeah. So the other,
if it's bigger, then I
that
don't think it will be bigger
hopefully,
in terms of like actual content. I don't
I
want to say like content, but like it's gonna be if it's bigger, it's because of fillers.
I was
That's
gonna
what
say
I'm trying to say.
I haven't even touched
Unless
the
it's
multiplayer.
not, then that would be cool.
Hmm.
Oh wait, does that multiplayer?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I hopefully they bring that to the standalone. They expand that a bit. Like, really make the multiplayer a focus this time. Because, like you said, it was like, oh yeah, they added that. Like, it
Yeah,
feels like a afterthought more so than a main focus.
I mean, if it's good, it's good, man. It's like the Last of Us multiplayer, like that whole era of single player game getting multiplayer for
What? Yeah.
whatever reason.
What are
But a few worked out. Like Last of Us was really good.
and they're still working on that. Apparently,
Oh, oh yeah, I would love that because they said they were gonna make like that the whole standalone
yeah, exactly.
thing with that. Like, dude, The
I
Last
know.
of Us
I'm.
multiplayer was awesome.
And speaking of multiplayer games, that's gonna hop over to our next rumor, and it's that Insomniac is making a multiplayer game, and this comes to us from apptrigger.com by Matthew
App
Leb.
Cricket,
Yeah, APP Trigger.
Matthew, Leap, Leap, Leap,
Liebl. Libel. Mr. Matthew, I'm sorry. Fresh off the release of Ratchet
Mr.
and Clank,
Matthew L.
Matthew
Let's
L.
just save the butchering. Yeah, just let's just not butcher his name anymore.
The studio is looking to hire 5 new job openings for a multiplayer project, and while the details of this project remains in the wrap, the listing themselves do provide some clues that jump-started speculations. They are looking for a system designer that calls through for a thorough understanding of melee combat, enemy design, and boss design. A story lead role doesn't offer any specific clues, but does say experience with multiplayer narratives is preferred. Um, so yeah, again, rumored. There's really not much to talk about. um, but the one thing I've pitched to you lately is like what was it? Like you said, so Ghost has the multiplayer. Technically, Last of Us does. Um,
Technically.
it really seems like PlayStation is going big on this whole multiplayer focus. They're getting a lot of their studios. Um, London is doing a multiplayer game. I think Studio Japan or something is also there's like 4 or 5 multiplayer games going on.
Oh man, I hope they just don't cannibalize each other.
See, well, that is my question. Do you think it is too many? Because like I said, I can name 4 or 5 off the top of my head. There's the Firewalks one. There's Jade Raymond's one. Um,
Like the multiplayer games
yeah,
that
like
are
they are just
like
like
coming
specific.
out.
Yes, they're saying we're working on a multiplayer game for PlayStation.
Wow,
I'd be curious. Do you think that's like too much, or do you kind of like
too much.
the variety? Because like we were saying earlier, the things that make and break these games are their player bases, and if you have
Yeah,
too many on PlayStation, it's gonna spread them out a little bit.
it's yeah, yeah. That's the thing about multiplayer games, right? It's just not enough people to go around, not enough hours, and especially with uh, like my example is like Overwatch, right? Blizzard makes they even use this term called lifestyle game, where when you play and you get into it, and that thing becomes your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if none of these games have that level of like draw to be like a lifestyle game,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna have to be really good to at least pull people away from that more like consistently to stay in their ecosystem. And then if there's like 5 of them at the same time, then people are gonna bounce back and forth. But like that's not bad. But like one of them or a couple of them will have to win out by the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And it's
And
kind
I
of
don't know, like because this is going to be like big budget multiplayer from the sound of it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, at least from a few. I don't know about Insomniac, but like they're pretty big these days.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
Which I
Yeah,
know this sounds weird. I feel like if anyone, I don't know why. I guess of all their studios, I feel like Sucker Punch probably is gonna be the one to do it, because like you said, people loved Last of Us, but and it definitely had a hardcore community, but I still think that was niche. And like you said,
it kind of was. Yeah,
yeah, and I think Insomniac, like I'm sure, like even they do a Ratchet game, like, I feel that'll be good for a bit, but I don't think long term people are gonna stick with it. But I could see Sucker Punch doing it. They're like, hey, we're just Ghost, multiplayer or whatever.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, and you brought up like a good thing, where it reminded me that the multiplayer for Last of Us is niche.
Mhm.
That's the advantage it had, right? Because it's not its own thing. It
Yep,
doesn't like rely on it.
exactly.
So if these games don't entirely rely on multiplayer, so or it's not like a huge thing, I think it might survive. But I don't know what it's gonna be. That's the thing.
Mhm. Um, so yeah, so we're gonna have to wait and see what all these multiplayer stuff does. But our final quote unquote story,
Bonnie,
yeah, kind of funny. What up? Our final quote unquote story. Have you been keeping up with the blue box drama, sir?
oh, that's the Kojima thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that the
normally I would not.
wasn't there like a guy that like posted a video on Twitter
But that's what I was about to say.
saying,
Yeah, normally I would not touch this
yeah,
because this is purely rumor. This is purely
yeah, it's
speculation.
all over the place, man.
Um,
I don't know, I
but
don't
I
know what's
have
going on.
we have no news stories, so I'm literally forced to. But yeah, so for those of you, I'm gonna be reading from PlayStationLifestyle.net because they've done a big, extensive. Why did it just freeze? Oh, it opened a new. Um, They did a big, extensive breakdown. So if you do Blue Box Game Studio abandons Kojima Silent Hill, they have a whole article thing. But I'm just gonna go through it, giving the kind of small updates, because people have gone bananas with this thing, and I don't know what to
I
believe
mean,
anymore. Every time I think I
I
know,
kind of understand.
yeah, every time I think I know what's going on, something happens, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. So hi, what is up? Future Vinny here. So of course, because OBS just really likes ruining the ending of the show for whatever reason, it cut off the whole end bit with me and Mr. Sam talking about Abandon and about Blue Box and all the other stuff. And initially, I was gonna do a pickup and just kind of briefly go over the information myself. But of course, because this episode is so delayed and there's been so many updates on the actual story itself, the latest update, hopefully before unless something happens between when I upload this, the latest thing is that they were going to release this trailer app experience thing. They haven't clarified what it is. My understanding is basically you can experience the world of the demo that the trailer's taking place in. So like the demo will be in real time of the trailer. So basically, that's my understanding. They haven't been vague. Anyway, it got delayed. It got pushed like 2 weeks. Now it's gonna drop sometime in August. And like the latest news is that you can preload the app on July 29th. But it won't like be activated until sometime in August. So yeah, I thought about picking it up and doing the whole thing, but at this point, it's so much conspiracy, it's so much hearsay, and with the event dropping in August, I'm more comfortable just waiting for that. If you want it, it's out there. It's crazy. People think Abandon's the next Silent Hill. That's the super short version of it all. But yeah, so unfortunately, OBS really likes cutting off my endings. So I'm gonna have to do the wrap up myself. But again, I want to thank my guest, Mr. Sam. He's so fun. He's so informative. I had a blast, and hopefully, we can have him on again. Now, as I said at the start, he doesn't have too much of a of a social media presence. He's on Instagram, Sam a River Fishman. If you want to go follow him. But the main place you can find him, and often myself, most days, the place I'm most active compared to any other form of social media is going to be on the different Facebook groups we're in. We're in most of the kind of funny ones, so things like kind of funny games, kind of anime, kind of naughty, all those other things, as well as a lot of the IGN-based groups, such as Podcast Beyond, Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN Game Scoop, all those other various fun places. So if you want to go check him and talk to him and just let him know how he did on the show, that would be probably the best place to go. Just like tell him hi, say you appreciated having him on the show. But if you want to follow our social media, as I struggle, you can follow us over at PS Plus Pod, all one word, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you'd like to hear my own personal things about what I'm up to when I'm not working on said podcast, such as the various games I'm playing, various streams, all fun kind of non-stuff that don't relate to PlayStation Plus, you can follow me, Viral Vinny, Twitter, Instagram, Viral Vinny Show on Facebook, where I post links to the other various projects I've worked on, as well as Viral Vinny Show. That's my review channel. Viral Vinny Gameplay. That's where I do previous Let's streams and whatever. My dogs are freaking out in the background. Someone probably bought cheese. But yeah, so again, I apologize so much. Hopefully, finger crossed, the next time I don't lose the ending and I don't have to do another pickup. But until next time, this has been the Unofficial PlayStation Plus podcast. And until next time, long live play, whenever, wherever, forever.